Many, many years ago, I was sitting in my home office. It was about 7 p.m. I had come back from work as a good pediatrician, and I was catching up on my charts. So I probably had about, 12 charts done. I was like, let me just, bend down, get the work done, and then go to bed. And then my daughter came into my office and just wanted to hang out with her mom, who had been at work all day. And I was like, yeah, I'll come talk with you. I need to finish my work and stuff like that. And so she went to go play with her brother. And I started thinking, I was like, this is ridiculous, right? Because I had woken up that morning. I left before they woke up, so I hadn't seen them per se. I went, I did all the work I had to do at the practice, but because I was the owner, I also had some owner stuff to do and, had to deal with some interruptions to my day and all of those things. So I wasn't able to finish my charts, only to come home. I hung out with them a little bit, went to sit down to do my charts. And the person who had missed me all day, I sent them away to keep working, even though I had been at work all day. And so it made me stop and say, okay, there's something not right about this. And there's something that I need to fix here. And I started looking for the way out. Like, how do I go to work and work really hard when I'm at work, but then come back and not need to work when I'm at home, as far as the clinical aspect of things? And so let me know in the chat if that resonates with you, if you found yourself doing that and you're like, there is something not right about this. Okay. So anyway, fortunately, I found two things that Brian Tracy said. So I'm a Brian Tracy fan. If you don't know now, you know. And he wrote this really good book called Eat That Frog. It's about 21 ways to overcome procrastination, but it's a really good book about work ethic and vision and prioritizing your time and making the best use of your time. It's a really good book. And so there are two concepts in there that I found. And the first one is this concept of if you play during your hard time, then you lose your soft time. Now, that's not exactly the way he said it, but that's me paraphrasing. And what that means is if you don't work hard, and hard doesn't mean just hard, it also means smart, right? If you don't work hard during your hard time, which is when you're at work, then you're going to lose your soft time, which is the time you have with your family and to rest and all of those other things. And that's exactly what had happened that day with my daughter. And so that was the first thing he said. And then the second thing, he talks about the 48-12 rule, which really means when you go to work, you work all the time you're at work, right? And so for each hour block, each 60-minute block, you put your head down for 48 minutes. You're doing your most important work and all of that. Then you can come up for air for 12 minutes and then you go back to work. And it seems like, oh man, that's is the discipline of it is, like I just want to freelance my day and stuff like that. But the truth of the matter is, if you don't treat it that way, then the time when you're supposed to rest and do other things, you're going to have to finish up with whatever work there is. And you may be thinking, I'm a physician, I'm not lazy, I'm working all the time I'm at work. But that's the thing, right? Working hard is not always the volume of the work, sometimes it's the quality of the work, right? So if we're busy all day, are we busy with high level activities? Are we busy with low level activities? Are we busy with the things that must be done? Are we busy with some things that are actually distractions, if you think about it? And so I want to talk to you a little bit about, some of the reasons why we're charting at night, right? And I want to invite you to be really open-minded about this. You may say, no, it's because the system sucks and all of that, but this is the deal. Even if the system does suck, I still want you to go to work, finish your work at work, and go home and have a great time with your family. Okay, so what some of the reasons why we walk away with charts, go back home and we're charting is we're doing other people's jobs. We're doing other people's jobs. I have seen doctors who they will see their patients. They're like, oh, my MA is not competent enough, so they're doing their own vaccines. My front desk person is being too slow, so you're scheduling the follow-up appointments. There's something your practice administrator is supposed to do. You're like, oh, she's busy, so I'll do it. But you have to understand, if you have an 8-hour workday, you have a finite amount of time. You don't have forever. And so you want to put the most important things on there and understand for every additional thing you take off, you're taking time from somewhere. So if you know that by scheduling these follow-up appointments that your front desk person could have done, or doing these vaccines your MA could have done, or meeting with referral sources that your practice administrator could have done, if you know doing those things for them means you spend less time with your kids, would you do that? If you knew that doing these things would mean that you don't get to work out, consistently, would you do that? If doing that means that you get an hour less of sleep and the next day you're cranky, would you do that? So you have to look at the opportunity cost. So that's the first reason. The next reason is doing other people's thinking, right? So there's delegating tasks and there's delegating thinking. And so I'll give you an example. I would have times, then all the time I had someone come into my office. They knock on the door, I'm like, come in. You're like, oh, we had a problem with this vaccine, or we had the problem with this vendor, or this mom is mad, or whatever, or we have this issue. And I'm like, great. I'm like, so what do you want to do? They're like, I don't know, that's why I came here. I'm like, I'm like, okay, so I want you to go think about what you will do. I want you to come up with 3 solutions, and then I want you to come tell me what they are, and I'll tell you which one I pick and why, right? Because what I was trying to do is to train my people, when you see a problem, don't create a task for me, which is doing the thinking to solve the problem. Come and tell me, this is what the problem is. This is what I'm thinking of doing. What do you think? And then if you do that over time, and I take the time to tell you, this is what I think we should do, and this is why, over time, I would have put my way of thinking into your mind so you can go ahead and do what needs to be done, because that is a lot of mental clutter. And you may think, I didn't do anything extra, I was just answering questions. No, because the time you used to do that, you could have finished 3 charts. The time you used to do that, you could have returned 3 calls. Like, you could have done it, right? So doing other people's thinking. So, Brian Tracy usually describes it as, imagine somebody coming in with a problem. They come in, it's like they have a monkey on their shoulder, and they came and they took the monkey and put it on your table, right? And so you're like, don't let the people leave their monkeys on your table. So I would usually say, I'm not touching that monkey with a 10-foot pole. That's your monkey. You tell me what you're going to do. Okay. The third thing is being a yes man or being a yes woman, right? Which means we don't have any boundaries. So yeah, we want you to, yeah, there's this new committee we want you to be a part of, and it's going to be 3 hours every week, and you don't have the bandwidth to do it. But like a good doctor, what do? You say yes. The thing is this: the 3 hours is going to come out of somewhere. That's just the way it is, right? And so you have to have boundaries with your team, and you have to have boundaries with patients, and you have like, when somebody gets on and they're mad because the prior authorization for their medication was not approved, and you told them at the visit that you've done this for a long time, and the insurance company will not approve the medication, and they say, get Dr. Jones on the phone, and you get on the phone for another 20-minute conversation. That's 20 minutes you could have used to do something else, because there's no resolution to be had in that conversation. That's the place where a boundary would have been perfect, right? Okay. Fourth reason is offering concierge services in an insurance-based model, right? And so when we look at, am I going to be a concierge doc, or am I going to run a fee for service insurance-based practice? You have to understand those are two completely different models. Okay. So the concierge doc can charge a lot, and so therefore can see less patients and give those patients more time, right? When I say concierge level service, I'm not talking about good service. I'm talking about amount of time. Okay. Now, if you are an insurance-based model, well, your pricing, what you're getting paid is controlled, and it's a lot lower than what a concierge doc would get, which means to make up for, you have to have a higher volume, right? Which means you can still take excellent care of them, but it's in a smaller amount of time. And so you have to be aware of what game you're playing, if you're going to be somebody who's going to get all their work done and not burn out, right? And so when you try to give concierge level time in a model where high volume is required, then you may be able to do that, but you may have 2 hours of charting to do every day at home. So then you have to make a decision. Do I want to do that? And if I do that effectively, I'm working 10-hour days, or do I want to figure out how to do 8-hour days, right? And so those are things that you want to think about. So what do we do to fix this? We let people do their jobs. You hire them, you pay them. We train people to do their jobs. You want to let people do their thinking. You want to put in boundaries. You want to honor the model that you're in. You can also do things like definitely get a scribe on. I mean, like, we're in this time of AI, right? There's so many AI solutions for that, and get a scribe, like, get a scribe on, and so that your charts can get done in real time. Some people have, in-person scribes. You can do that as well. But the bottom line is this: you have a finite amount of time. And in a time where private practices are going away in unprecedented numbers, we need you. The United States needs you. Your patients need you. We need you to thrive. We need you to love what you do. We need you to not be burned out. And so it's your time to say, okay, I have 8 hours, and I'm going to look at how do I get this done effectively in 8 hours, because of course you can. Okay. So the call I have for you today is I want you to start from today to honor my practice is open 8 to 5. This is the number of patients I see. How do I get all my work done at work and start doing that? I've done that. I had done that for years and years and years. I trained the doctors who come to work with me to do that. And like, my plan is for you to never go home and chart. That's my plan for you. I've helped my clients do that. And so that can be your story too. So don't buy into the lie that you can't. Just ask the question and start practicing today to make that happen. And as always, if you need support with all things private practice, come join us in the Profitable Private Practice movement, where we help you to fill up your patient schedule, get paid for the work you do, and build a rock star team that will help you serve and earn. And I am rooting for you. And I want you to think about what life is about to look like. It's about to look like you go to work. You work hard when you're at work. And when you shut down that computer at the end of the day, you go home and you spend that time with your family. You spend that time taking care of your health. You spend that time with other passion projects that fill your heart. You spend that time to rest properly so you can be that doctor who has a private practice that helps a lot of people, is profitable, and you enjoy medicine. That's what we want for you. All right. I'll see you on the next episode.